Have you ever wondered what if the secret to massive, life altering change wasn't some huge heroic effort? What if it was something almost invisibly small? Something you could do every single day without even thinking about it? Well, today we're going to dive right into the core ideas from the book Atomic Habits.
So, right off the bat, let's talk about this huge misconception we all have. We're kind of taught to believe that to get these big, amazing results, you've got to make a massive, earth-shattering change. We're always looking for that one big moment that's going to change everything for us. And this thinking, it leads us down a pretty familiar path, doesn't it? We set these gigantic New Year's resolutions. We try to go all in on some extreme new routine we saw online, and we ride this temporary wave of motivation, just hoping it'll last. But let's be honest, it almost never does.
So, what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if the whole approach is backwards? What if the real key to success isn't big and sudden, but actually incredibly, almost unnoticeably small? This brings us to the absolute core idea, the surprising math of just getting 1% better. Now, I know 1% sounds like nothing, right? But you wait. Over time, the effect is absolutely extraordinary.
So check this out. If you improve by just 1% every single day for a year, you might think, okay, you'd be 365% better. But that's not how it works. Because of the power of compounding, you'd actually be nearly 37 times better. That is the incredible hidden power of these tiny, consistent gains. But here's the thing. This is a double-edged sword. It works both ways. Getting just 1% worse each day has an equally dramatic but, opposite effect. Over a year, those tiny positive habits lead to massive growth, while the tiny negative ones can just erode all your progress down to basically nothing. It's kind of scary when you see it laid out like that. Okay, so if the math is so simple, why do so many of us quit? Well, the answer is this idea called the valley of disappointment. And we've all been there, right? It's that super frustrating period at the beginning where you're putting in the work, you're being consistent, but you're just not seeing the results yet. This is the exact moment most people give up, and they don't even realize they're just about to have a breakthrough. All right, this next part, this is probably the most profound shift in the entire philosophy, so listen up. Forget your goals for a minute. Seriously. True, lasting change doesn't come from what you want to achieve. It comes from who you believe you are. The difference is this crucial mental shift. Instead of a goal-based approach like, I want to be fit, you adopt an identity-based one. I am a healthy person. See the difference? The first one is a target way off in the future. The second is a statement about who you are right here, right now. I love thinking about it this way. Every single action you take is like casting a vote. So going to the gym isn't just a workout, it's a vote for being a healthy person. Reading one page of a book isn't just reading, it's a vote for being a learner. It's these tiny little votes, day after day, that actually build your new identity. Okay, so we've got the big idea, the theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we put this into practice? Well, that brings us to the practical toolkit, the 4 laws of behavior change. Law number 1 is super simple. Make it obvious. Basically, every habit starts with a trigger or a cue. So you need to make that cue impossible to miss. If you want to read more, don't just hope you'll remember to do it. No, you put a book directly on your pillow. You're literally designing your environment to do the work for you. Second, you got to make the habit attractive. Let's be real. Our brains are wired to repeat things that feel good. So you can kind of trick your brain by bundling something you need to do with something you really want to do. For example, maybe you only let yourself watch your favorite Netflix show while you're walking on the treadmill. It links the hard thing with a fun reward. Okay, law number 3 is a big one. Make it incredibly easy. The biggest barrier to any new habit is just starting it. So you use the 2-minute rule. Your goal isn't to run a marathon. Your goal is to just put on your running shoes. That's it. Your goal isn't to write a novel. It's to open your notebook. You're just building the initial habit of showing up. And finally, the last piece of the puzzle. Make it satisfying. Here's the deal. Our brains are wired for immediate gratification, but the real payoff for good habits is often way down the road. So you have to create an immediate win. A great example is just tracking your habit on a calendar. Every time you do it, you get to draw a big X. That little bit of instant satisfaction makes your brain want to do it again tomorrow. Now, what's really cool about all this is that the system works just as well in reverse. If you want to break a bad habit, you just take these 4 laws and you flip them on their head.
So let's say you want to break a bad habit, like mindlessly scrolling on your phone. To make it invisible, you put the phone in another room. To make it unattractive, you constantly remind yourself how it drains your energy. To make it difficult, you could log out of all your social media apps after each use. And finally, to make it unsatisfying, you could track all the time you've wasted, which adds just a little bit of painful awareness. But look, life happens, right? Nobody is perfect. You're going to have off days. So how do you handle those setbacks? Well, the key isn't trying to be perfect. It's a relentless focus on just being consistent. And that brings us to maybe the single most important rule to stay on track. It's simple. Never miss twice. Missing once, that's an accident. It happens to literally everyone. But missing a second time in a row, well, that's the start of a brand new negative habit. So no matter what happens, you just get back on track the very next day. This quote just captures the entire philosophy perfectly. Think about it. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. The difference isn't their ambition, it's that one has a reliable system of tiny habits that carries them forward even when motivation is gone. Your system, that's your safety net. So let's just end with this. Forget about tomorrow or next week or next year. What is one tiny, almost effortless action you can take right now, today? What is one small vote you can cast for the person you are hoping to become? Because really, the answer to that simple question, that could be the start of everything.
For more contents like this, please like, share, and subscribe Focus Peaking channel.